cats in space. Okay, well, sleepy cat. Not exactly in space yet, but we'll get to the space part of it. Hello. Welcome. Sylvia, polished mess. I see Ashley saying first, but I don't think that was first. I see Sylvia coming in first there. Najwa, hello, welcome. Sorry, Ashley. It's not my fault. Sylvia was faster than you. Well, you're number one now. You just got to keep talking constantly, and then you can be number one. The truth is, Jammy Dodgers is number one. No matter what. Number one in our hearts. Number one in sleeping. Champion Fluffball. You have proof? You're posting it in the Discord? Okay. I'll look at your proof. I don't know if I'm going to believe your proof. But I'll look at it. I'm waiting. I'm in Discord. I'm waiting. I don't see your proof yet. Sylvia, did you ever think that Ashley was going to be ready to fight you? Hey, Tiffany, welcome. Ashley is taking on the world tonight. She's here. She's ready to do battle. That's okay. Hey, did y'all see my new shirt? Hang on, let me get. Isn't this nice? Yeah. I love it. Very excited about it. I think it was Ash. It was Alyssa that got it first. She got the t-shirt version of it. And then I was gonna order one, and I kind of forgot about it. And then I saw Atticus had a tank top version of it, and I was like, well, shit. If there's a tank top version, I have to own it, because I'm definitely more of a tank top girl than a t-shirt kind of person. So you posted it, Ashley? All right, I'm ready to see your evidence. Okay, all right. I see that your app did in fact put your response before Sylvia's. However, mine showed Sylvia's first. So, I don't know. The shirt is from J. Greg Jonathan. I think J. Greg _ Jonathan is the guy's handle on Instagram. I don't even follow him. But his videos show up in my feed. He's pretty wholesome, or at least he seems pretty wholesome. And he has this shirt in his little merch shop, so I was like, yeah, I want it. Hey, Sassy, welcome. Yeah, so I'll try and remember to like put the link in the description box or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's J. Greg, GREGG maybe? I think it's J. Greg _ Jonathan. It's true, the internet does lie. Let me actually just, yeah. So it's JGREGG Jonathan.myshopify.com is his shop. But yeah, try and remember to put it in the description when the VOD goes up. There's also a version that just says Punch Nazis, but obviously that's not as good as Paint Nails Punch Nazis. And they've got some other shirts as well. Found it on the Double G. Good stuff. So, Space Nails. This was a request. I don't remember who asked for it. There was at least one person who asked for a Space Nails tutorial. When I posted, I think it was on the post of the birthday mani I did for Brittany from BCB Lacquers. But yeah, I had done like a cute little otter in outer space, like floating in outer space. So someone asked for a tutorial on the Space Nails, and I thought I would just make a live stream of it because I find it a lot easier to do live streams than edit together a whole tutorial. But also doing a live stream means that I can do a variety of different styles and sort of talk in more depth about how I approach Space Nails in general. And sort of, so there's not just like one way to do it, obviously, right? There's not even just one way that I do it. I almost never plan anything about the way I do my Space Nails. It's just like I grab a base, I grab some stuff that I think might work, and I play until I get it. So you can do like pastel Space Nails, you can do, you know, sort of more like simple, mostly just black with stars, and then like a little bit of a Milky Way kind of thing, planets and shit, whatever. There's a bunch of different ways to do stars, but the main thing I think that people were asking about was sort of how to make the nebula look cool. And so there's sort of a process that I go through for that. And so we can do that in a variety of different ways. So you can sort of get a sense of what that process looks like, depending on different kinds of polishes that I might choose. Yeah, and you can ask me real time. You can ask me all kinds of questions real time. I also I pulled this out while I was setting up. This is just a plug for my amazing stepdaughter. I pulled it just so I would have something for the camera to focus on when it's not when there's nothing happening in there, because otherwise my camera does stupid things and it'll keep like trying to autofocus on nothing. And it's noisy and annoying. But yeah, my stepdaughter makes really cool like enamel pins and patches and backpacks and all kinds of cool shit. But this is one of her designs that I have. So her shop is Rotoodle. I'm pretty sure if you just Google Rotoodle, you'll find that. But yeah, so I thought I'd throw that up there. And she's Rotel on Instagram. And I did put in my stories, I tagged her on a photo of just this pin tonight. So if you did want to go and check her out, check out her shop and see what else she has. She does some cool space stuff. She does some cool geology stuff. She does a lot of Pokemon stuff, she's done some Animal Crossing. She's done some MASH. She's like a huge MASH fan. Just sort of, you know, variety of different cool things. So anyway, just thought I'd put that up there. Hello, Bonquette. Her handle, hang on, let me put it in here. That is my alt. Just put her Instagram handle. So obviously you can get to her shop from her Instagram account. Yeah. Okay. Should we do some Space Nails? So I have my base down on my nails, But we're going to have to make some decisions. I didn't pull any polish at all to start with. And the reason for that is because I want to really make it clear that you can almost start anywhere and make something cool that is spacey. So I'm going to let y'all... Huh? What do you mean my real name is Vexed? What are you talking about? Ashley, I'm gonna let y'all decide, on things to pull for this. So, like, how do we want to start? Do we want to start with like a basic dark, like a black creme? Do you want to start with a dark hollow? Do you want to start with something pastel, jellies, shimmers? How do you want to start? And we'll build from there. Oh, yeah, Peggy is my alt, yeah. I mean, listen, Peggy is my alt. Yeah, I have so very many names, but that's okay. So yeah, tell me how you want me to start. Do they all have to be the same? No, we're going to do different things. I'm going to do like a different style on each nail because I want to really drive home how you can pretty much just do something spacey with what you have. We can start with a magnetic. We can start with like really almost anything. Do I have a navy blue jelly? Yeah. Let's start with that. Let's see. I got cracked rolling in the deep. So we'll start with that. Okay. So, short for Pegerson. Yeah, it is. You nailed it in one. It's amazing. No one's ever gotten that. So we'll start with rolling in the deep. And this is a navy jelly that's gonna take a few coats to just get us started. Magenta creme, yeah, we can start with a magenta creme. Like high tea hibiscus. Now I will say darker colors, it does work best if your base is something real dark, or if you want to do a pale pastel sort of nebula, then you can start with pastels as well. Mid colors are a little harder to work with, but we can absolutely use this as a base. So why don't we grab, because I feel like most people would want to start with a dark, like hollow or glitter or something. Oh geez, Bunkette, did you get caught up in all the stupid layoffs because of jerk butt? My husband's job is at risk as a result of him as well. For now, we're okay, but who the heck knows? Because he's at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Labs and does a lot of work with NASA and the other guys. Negative Space Manny. I mean, Negative Space Manny is just Space Manny in sections of the nail, right? It's the same basic idea. You would just leave some areas blank, right? Is that what you're talking about? Let's do at least one that is a dark, sort of more conventional space base. So let's see. Why don't we start with Cosmocorn for one of them? So that's an an Arcana dark blue with flakes and hollow and all kinds of stuff in there. Yeah, you got doged. Yep. Yeah, it's brutal time to be in that sort of field, especially if you're doing anything vaguely related to academia and rather than more of the military stuff. A magnetic? Okay, I'll find a magnetic base. Let's see. How about... I haven't used this one in a really long time. Yeah, Arcana already kind of looks like space in a bottle. Yeah, okay, let's try this Starly... This is Earth. The Galaxy Edition. It is... It's a magnetic. It's a little bit more subtle. Unless you want to go away from blue. If you want to do like... We could also do like a dark purple magnetic. Trying to think what else I have right now. Black Hollow. Yep. I got a Black Hollow. Let's see. Trying to find my Hollow Taco one, but I don't know where the hell it is. Might be easier to find my Wildflower. Here. Got Wildflower Shattered. That's a good base. Alright, so we've kind of only got dark ones. I wonder if I want to choose something different for, instead of Cosmicorn. Because it might be nice to do like one that's a pastel or a light colored thing. What about that? That's kind of interesting. Let's try that out. All right. So I'm going to tell you right now that I have definitely used this one as a base for Space Nails, but I haven't used any of these others as base for Space Nails. So we're really just winging this. Neon Space. That's a fun idea. We could maybe actually use neons with this magenta. That could be very interesting. We do like a pastel space, a sort of a more traditional black hollow base space. Yeah, we'll mess around. We'll mess around. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a base coat down for everything. And then we'll start as that's drying, because I'm gonna need like a couple of coats of most of these, I think. While the bases are drying, we can talk about next steps. Actually, I forgot that this really is like a one coater. Like maybe you could stretch it out into a two coater if you like really, if you're really if you do thin, super thin application. But yeah, it's like super thick. Not like thick like gloopy, not thick in the bad way, but it's very, very opaque. I don't think Royal Lee has these since they changed their branding and everything. I think this collection just unfortunately disappeared, but it was a real good one. My live stream slogan, let's mess around. Yeah. It'd be a pretty good one. I am going to want... Okay. It occurs to me I should not use the ring magnet because fewer people have a ring magnet. But I feel like pretty much everyone has one of these double-ended wand things. So I'm going to use the round end of the double-ended wand. Because I think if you have a magnetic, you have one of these. So that's what I'm going to use for... let me just give this a good shake. That's what I'm going to use for magnetizing this. And it's not the only magnetic that we're going to use, guaranteed, because I'll tell you right now, I really like adding a magnetic as one of the elements for my space manis. Even if it's not the base, I often like to have some kind of a magnetic in there. So you never use your round end? Yeah, I feel like a lot of people never use the round end. But it's good for stuff like this when you don't necessarily want something that's like super sort of geometric. Sometimes you want something that's a little more organic looking. I totally tapped the polish, but that's okay because we're going to need a couple of coats of it anyway. But yeah, when you're using something like this as a base, or you can also use something like this later on in the process. You'll see. We'll use a different magnetic for some other stuff later. All right, let's get a coat of this guy on. Most of these are going to need more than one coat. Yeah, the double-ended ones come free with purchase of magnetic at a lot of places. And even if you don't have one from getting one for free, I feel like most places sell them pretty cheap if they have magnetic polishes. Yeah, round end is useful. It is absolutely useful. You can do the weird little French tip thing. You can do weird little swooshes. It's definitely, I think, an underrated sort of a magnet. Because it doesn't do like the most, sort of dramatic. I feel like the really dramatic ways or really dramatic styles are often like the ones that you see the most. Like the cat eye is super dramatic. The bead is super dramatic when it's done well. Velvets can be real dramatic. Those like stupid heart things. God, I hated that trend. Mostly because it was so annoying, and also because I don't really like hearts. I don't think I want to do a second coat of this. I think it'll be easier if I don't do a second coat of that one. Let's let these dry a little bit, and I'm going to grab some other polishes. Now, when I am thinking about how to build up a spacey thing, I'm thinking about two major things. One is contrast, and the other is visual texture. So you've all seen like images of like nebulas where it's got like sort of cloudy area and there can be a bunch of different colors in it, and then you'll have like some areas that almost seem more dense, and some that are very, very sort of like misty, right? And then you've got stars clustered really closely together in a lot of those, right? So to me, that says, when I think of the shimmery sort of, or the misty sort of cloud sort of formations, I'm thinking shimmers, and I'm thinking white creme and jelly, okay? And then when I'm looking at the more sort of dense areas, I'm thinking flakies. So what I end up usually doing is layering multiple toppers. So I did grab a white creme, which we're definitely going to be using, because everybody has a white creme, I'm pretty sure. You can also use it doesn't have to be like a super opaque one like this. Like it can be pretty, it can be like a 5-coater, and that's fine. It'll still work pretty well for this. And I also didn't really want to use any like super special tools for any of this. So we're going to use a toothpick, or not a toothpick, a Q-tip. Because I feel like most people have Q-tips. You can also use, obviously, a little bit of sponge, a nail sponge, but Q-tips work just fine. So we're going to use that, and I'll go over a couple of tips for using them and not getting your nails all linty. So I'm going to grab some shimmers and some flakes. These are going to be mostly either toppers or things that are pretty sheer. So, oh, and also the other thing that I like, if you have one, a sheer magnetic or a magnetic topper can be really, really nice. So, let's see. I have, this is a hollow magnetic topper. So we'll use that. I've got this reflective shimmer. I've got this in a few different colors, but I think this like orangey one will provide a nice sort of contrast. Let's see. A flake topper that brings in some yellows. What else do we maybe want? Here's more of a blue sheer shimmer that doesn't have reflectives. And a different flaky topper. Maybe we'll want a plain reflective topper as well. Where's my reflective taco? There it is. These guys are all friends when it comes to doing space nails. These are Holo Taco classics. We got everything taco, we got the reflective taco, and we got scattered Holo Taco. I love these for doing space nails. I feel like a lot of people have those or dupes of them. And let me find, I have another, where's my fancy gloss? Somewhere around here I have a fancy gloss magnetic topper that I think would be helpful. Okay, well, I don't know where it is, but I grabbed something different instead that's completely different. This is a very opaque, quite subtle magnetic, but look at it. Ooh, it's pretty. I'm going to add some of that to something. I don't know what yet. So, okay, I haven't given a whole lot of thought to what I'm doing with these, right? Like, I've literally just, like, grabbed a bunch of random toppers and other stuff. It's just, we're just gonna mess around and see what happens. Let's get a second coat down for the ones that need a second coat. So that one definitely wants a second coat. I think this magnetic wants a second coat. There's my magnet. It especially wants a second coat because of how I dinged the frickin' thing. Because apparently I'm good at that sort of thing. I just freaking did it again. Oh my god. Just immediately. It's because this one sticks out more than I think it will. I'm just going to put my nail at an angle here so that I can actually see it. Wildflower space polish. Oh, I'm a big fan of outer space, or I'm a big fan of space, both inner and outer or something like that. Yeah, I've used that actually a fair bit. I can grab that as well. Anything like that, though, is great. Like something that has a shimmer and some sort of like reflective or flakies or something, but doesn't have a super, super opaque base, can be fun. But even stuff that has an opaque base, you can still work with it. You can still do some fun stuff with it. It's just going to be about technique and building stuff up. But yeah, I agree with you. That is a really fun one. I've used that a few times with doing space nails. I don't know where it is though. I found it. I need one of y'all to come over here and put these things on top of all of my polishes that are in drawers, because it makes it a lot harder to find which one I'm looking for when I'm looking down into a dark drawer and I can barely make out this little ring of color here. Okay, and then I need another coat of the blue jelly here. And I think 2 coats is probably going to be enough for that one. I don't want to... Oh, geez. I just lost my little dabby pad here. Because with jellies, because they do dry a little bit slower, I don't necessarily want to build up a whole lot on the jelly that's on my pinky here. Because it kind of, once you build up so much other stuff over top of it, because it takes so long to dry, it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So I would say you don't necessarily need to go for full opacity for your base. You can have some translucency to it. It can be fine, because we're going to be layering stuff up over it. Okay, so... the very first thing that I typically do after getting my base down is build a little cloud. And this is the thing that you're going to be using your Q-tip for primarily. So if you have a less opaque white, I would say that can be very useful for this. But what I'm going to do is dab it in, but then also dab it out a bit, so that I'm kind of like getting some of the excess paint off. So I don't want to have like a huge gloop of white. And this part is not going to be pretty, okay? Now you'll note as you go along, it's going to start to get real sticky, and you may end up with a little bit of lint and some stickiness here, okay? If you start to get some stickiness, you want to add either some thinner or go back to the source and get yourself out some new stuff. And then go back in again. So you can basically build up pretty much any kind of shape that you want. You do want the edges usually to be a little bit more diffuse. You can have some areas that are a little bit more opaque, but you don't want the whole thing to be super opaque, okay? And it's going to look like shit right now. That's expected. It's going to look like shit. That's okay. We're layering stuff up over it. We're building on it. So that's going to be our first thing. And as I said, if it's getting sticky, if you're feeling like you've got some linty bits, you can also just like pull them off as you go along if you do find some. But if your Q-tip is getting linty, make the polish that you're working with a little bit runnier, and that will help. I also, you notice I've been like patting this down. In between, I'm kind of basically encouraging it to dry with a little bit with the lint sort of more attached to it. And we're going to do the same thing on other nails. I find in general, it tends to look best if you have sort of like a Milky Way-esque kind of line running through at least a portion of it. But, you know, you can do sort of more cloudy shapes. It just sort of depends on what you're going for. And there's, you know, if you look at specific nebulas, like you can see, you know, find photos of nebulas, you can see that a lot of them are not, they're not in that classic kind of shape. Yeah, it just looks like happy little clouds. You do kind of just have to trust the process because it's not going to look spacey yet. It's going to look weird and you're going to be like, oh God, I'm screwing it up. Oh God, it looks terrible. Oh God, oh, I hate it. Oh no, why is it like this? Oh no. But you just got to keep going. Just don't. The one thing I would say is less is more. So you don't necessarily want to do like a huge amount of white. Oh, I'm getting some linty bits there. Just press that in. You don't want to be covering like too much of the nail. So if you have smaller nails, keep that in mind. Make your area a little tighter, a little smaller. All right, I think that's a pretty good start. And obviously, if you do have the like makeup sponges that people use for you know, doing gradients and stuff, if you have these around, you can pull a little tuft of these off, just like a little itty bitty bit, and hold it in like a pair of tweezers, forceps, whatever you've got, and use that to dab it on, and then you don't have the lint problems. I'm just kind of trying to make this as accessible as possible so that people who don't have all the tools will also be able to follow this tutorial. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize Sylvia was actually, I just now see Sylvia's question about using a sponge instead. I hadn't seen it before I started talking about that. So yeah, I would, Najwa's got the right idea. I would tear it rather than cutting it so that you have sort of a softer shape without hard edges, because otherwise you can end up with a bit of a square. And you can even like tear it more than that if you want, but I find like doing something like that works just fine. So I will demonstrate that as well on one of the nails, just so that you see the sponge option in action. And typically what I'll do is, if I have something like this, I'll kind of like curl up the edges of it a little bit and grab sort of like this, so I have kind of more of a rounded kind of shape. And then, yeah, it's going to be exactly the same idea. And you can even use a much, much smaller piece if you want. It's exactly the same idea as the Q-tip, but less linty. So if you have sponge, absolutely, I encourage you to use the sponge instead of the Q-tip. I do think it's a better tool. It's just that not everybody has the sponges. So, and I will also say, if you're using sponges, like if what you have is like the Holo Taco sponge or something similar to that, where it's really not absorbent and it makes it like, and it's terrible at doing gradients, really be careful about how much you're putting on. I find that sponge in particular, it does not absorb the liquid, and so you end up with a gummy mess really quickly. But yeah. So that is going to be the sort of bright area of the nebula that we're going to build around. Now, let us go ahead and grab one of these flake toppers. And it doesn't, again, it does not matter what color it is. It doesn't matter. I just wouldn't use all the same color. What I would say is, like, if you use a yellow flake, maybe use a blue or pink shimmer or both, right? You kind of want to have a few different colors in there, I find. And for these, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to kind of dry brush. Like I'm taking most of it off and I'm just kind of dabbing some in there, and I'm not necessarily covering the whole thing. I'm going to use this on that, and I'm going to use it on this one as well, I think. And I'm not just going in the white area. Like, this is really, there's no precision involved with this. None whatsoever. I'm literally just fucking around. So I've got that one, and then maybe I'll use this other one that's more blues and greens. I think I'll put some of that in this one. And again, we are trusting the process here. It is not going to look like space anything yet. It's just going to look like blobbies. So we'll put that on those two. I think actually I want to use, so this one isn't a flaky, this one's like a reflective with shimmer. So I think I'm going to try and put a little bit of this in here. Ooh, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to go out of the white area on purpose. And I think I actually want to put a little bit of this in this one as well. So I'm sort of going on the edges, on the periphery of the white area for some of it, going in the middle of the white area for other parts. And this is not, like, there's no, I'm going to say this again and again, there's no real plan here. There's just sort of blooping stuff in there and seeing what happens with it, and just doing a little bit at a time, right? So mostly dry brush, little bit at a time. And if it doesn't work out well, we'll probably see that. So this one's a magnetic. And I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can actually get a little bit of, yeah. So I didn't totally dry this one. I didn't, like, completely wipe off the brush. I wiped it most of the way, but I wanted to make sure there was enough on there to get a little bit of the magnetic shift. So I'm going to use a little bit more of that in this one as well, because I liked how that one looked. That's kind of cool. I'm going to put a little bit down there and do a little magnetizing over there. The light green kind of looks like jade at this point. Yeah, it totally does. And it's not going to look like a, night sky galaxy, but it is going to give, like, pastel space vibes by the time we're done. At least that's the goal. All right, so we've done a little bit of a magnetic on there. And then, heck, let's put a little of this magnetic in here as well. And because this is a fairly opaque magnetic, I am going to not put it directly over the white so much, because I do want the white to be able to glow a little bit in there. And with this, because we're not, with these magnetics, when we're using them this way, because we're not, like, looking for a hard line so much, you don't have to hold it for a real long time. You're sort of just, like, looking for a little bit of movement. That's basically it. You could probably do marbly nails with the Q-tip too. Yeah, for sure. Yup. You can do almost anything. All right, let's bring in a bluey, greeny, shimmery thing. And this one is looking very pinky right now, so I definitely want to bring in some contrast into this one. So again, we're gonna sort of, this one's quite a translucent base, so I'm not worried about like covering the white with it, so I will go over top of the white. And mostly I'm using this for the shimmer. You see it's going to bring in some like purpley, bluey, depending on the angle, a little bit of greeny kind of base tones in there, or shimmer tones in there. And I want to go a little bit up here. I often find that I end up just going right onto my skin with these, and that is completely fine as far as I'm concerned. All right, what else do I want to do? Let's use a little bit of this. I'm a big fan of space. This one's got like, I think it's got like hollow flakes plus shimmer. I don't know what else is in this. I don't remember. This one was from a PPU a while ago. Back when Wildflower was still Wildflower. So, put some of this here. And then I'm going to use some of this over on this one as well, because we haven't done a whole lot with this magnetic nail yet. I definitely want some pinky, purpley tones in here. And with these, again, I'm basically just dry brushing. Yeah, the thumb is going to look it's going to end up looking the most like classically like a nebula, because it has that black starry background. But I think we can get the rest of these looking pretty close to one as well. Okay, so this here is actually the base color for this one, and I'm going to use it to layer up a little bit in here, just to add some like soft cloudiness, because it's not totally opaque, but it is a little more sort of jelly-like than some of the other ones, like a milky jellyish kind of color. So I want to bring this in, and I want to sort of use it to expand some of the more cloudy areas. And again, just dry brushing. So I'm going to expand some of these cloudy bits. But I'm also, bearing in mind that this does have a subtle purpley shimmer to it. So that's also going to become an element here. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I think I want to add a little bit more. I don't think I used any of this one on the magnetic nail, and I do want some of this. So the nice thing about adding a reflective is that it just adds some extra sparkle that, in my mind, really sort of mimics the star formation portion of what's happening here, because that's what nebulas are doing, right? Like they're generating stars. They're like building stars, which I think is freaking cool. All right, I want to do more of these flakies in several of these. And like I said, like this is just going to be sort of a process of building and building and building, and we're going to go back and forth and add stuff in and cover stuff up and like just mess around until we like it, basically. So, if you don't like the direction it's going, it's fine. You just have to add more stuff, and eventually you will. At least that's been my experience. Okay, I want to add some more of the blue and green flaky as well. And dun 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 dun. I feel like this nail really needs more stuff going on. That magenta is very like, I'm a magenta creme. You know what I mean? That's starting to look a little better. That helped. I think that helped. Okay. Now, whoop! Ah! Ah! All right. So, I'm going to sort of step back, take stock of where we're at with these. And so far, I am liking a lot of what's happening, but not all of what's happening. I feel like we need some more stuff going on here up in this quadrant in particular. I feel like this area with the magnetic needs something else happening. I actually think I want to bring a little bit more white over there. Kind of digging where this one's going. I might actually pull some dark tones in where the white is. I don't know about these two. Not sure how I feel about them yet. I might throw in some dark stuff in these ones. We'll see. Hello, Venus. Welcome. We're playing with space. We're playing with outer space. Okay, so I want to bring in a little bit more dark over here, but I don't want to do too much of that. I kind of just want to like, I feel like it's getting taken over a little bit. You know what I mean? Just gonna hit that sponge there. Could have done that with the Q-tip as well. And then I am gonna put more stuff over top of that. But I just feel like it needs a bit more like definition. You know what I mean? Same with this one. We are going to back that off a little bit. I feel like I want more of this green on the magenta nail. I want to expand this cloudy region in here. We're going to get there, y'all. I believe it. You watched K-pop Demon Hunters, then did bedtime? Hello, welcome. I hope that K-pop Demon Hunters and bedtime went smoothly for you. Where's my white? It's got to be like right in front of me, right? Oh, there it is. It's like incapable of finding that for some reason. All right, so just going to add back in a little bit of the white up here because I feel like I lost too much. And the magnetic area started to take over just a little bit too much there. Yeah. And this is like I said, you can kind of, you know, push and pull with this, right? You go back and forth, you add a little more light, you add a little more dark. And this can be a good time, you know, once we've sort of gotten a lot of movement and color and contrast in here, it can be a good time to go back in and bring back in some more pops of the purer, you know, sort of light colors or the darker colors so that it's less sort of just muddy, because it can get muddy if you're mixing up too much. That is a thing that can definitely happen. Okay, I want to, over this area where we sort of brought back in some more of that dark blue, I want to put a blue shimmer over top of it that's going to sort of soften it a little. And I think we'll add in some, I don't think we used any blue shimmer in this one yet. There we go. Digging that. Gonna do the same thing in here. Soften it with a little bit of a blue shimmer. But I'm not covering all of it. I also want to bring some blue shimmer into this one. I kind of feel like this ends up being a thing that I tend to do without really planning to. On every time I do space nails, I end up adding like some kind of a blue shimmer, some kind of a pink shimmer, usually some kind of green element, and then, you know, obviously some yellows and stuff. So yeah, so I tend to sort of go back to the same things over and over again because they work, you know. They end up looking right for what it is. Okay. I think I am liking big parts of this at this point. So this is sort of the point at which I start to think about, like, is it done once I, like, because I'm going to be adding stars, right? And the stars go a long way to really sort of selling that it's outer space. So I'm trying to like visualize what's it going to look like once I put a few stars in there. Am I going to buy it? Like, is it going to look spacey enough if I put a few stars in there? And I feel like for most of these, the answer at this point is yes. I'm not totally sold on the green one. And I'm not sure how to fix it just yet, but I think bringing back some of the base green might actually be part of the answer. So I'm gonna bring back some of that base green in here, and heck, maybe we'll end up landing on jade instead of space for this, but it'll still be pretty. And personally, I'm okay with that. They look spacey. You like them? Oh, good. They're supposed to look spacey. And, you know, ideally, you're supposed to like them. So, mission accomplished, I guess. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more of the blue flake in there. I do feel like bringing in more of the green helped on that nail. Okay. So, let us talk about reflective taco and scattered hollow taco, because these two, I feel like these are my friend. To a lesser extent, I also find everything taco, especially if you don't have a lot of flaky toppers. Everything taco, if you've got this one, can be super good for just like adding a bunch of like sort of random shit that helps to sell the idea of the nebula, because it's got sort of just a whole bunch of extra stuff in there that's going to be random enough that it doesn't look too much like you placed things carefully, right? Reflective, for obvious reasons, it ends up giving that, and you're not going to really see it so much on the like straight on in normal lighting, but I find that pretty much always when I add some reflective, and I'm really kind of just dabbing it on sort of pretty much all over. I tend to just always add a reflective topper, especially if I haven't used a lot of reflective colors in the base or in the nebula colors. Because it just, you know, the way the light sort of hits it at the different angles and you get that little bit of twinkle, I feel like it just really does that extra little bit to sell the space idea. So I basically never do a space mani without reflective taco, but before I had the reflective taco, that was what I used scattered hollow taco for. You can see my bottle is quite low. I use this constantly for that same purpose, and it does basically the same thing. But I've already got a fair bit of hollow in here with other stuff, so I'm not going to use it on this case. What I am going to do is a little bit of cleanup before I get to actually painting stars on. You're back. No way you're getting number 1 now. Aw, you can try. You can try, Ashley. Pardon me. I feel like who has number 1 at the moment? Because if it's still Sylvia, she hasn't been talking that much, so I feel like you can steal it back from her. I'm fairly certain you can get it back. All right, so as far as stars are concerned, there's a few different sort of ways to do them, obviously. If you stamp and you enjoy stamping and you have stamping plates with stars, by all means, use those because that is really so much easier. I would definitely go with, for any of these, I would go with just white. I know sometimes people will do stars in like silver or some other, sort of metallic color. And while that I think works really well for some types of things, I do feel, for me at least, when it comes to sort of the nebula look, white for me is the only thing that really quite sells it, in my opinion. Hey, you're number 1 again. Good job. See, I told you could do it. It's the best cleanup brush. I am so sad that Dimension Nails is no longer around because it's my favorite cleanup brush and it's from them. And when they closed down, I bought myself a backup because I was like, this is eventually going to die and I'm going to cry if I don't have a backup for it. Okay. You're trying to be as silly as possible because you have a sport parent meeting in 30 minutes. You have to be boring and serious. That sounds terrible. I'm so sorry that's happening to you. Nobody should have to do that. And thank you very much, Venus. That's very kind of you. Okay, let's add some stars. So there's a couple of different ways that I like to add stars. I like to add a variety of different sizes of stars because I think it looks nicer. I'm only going to do a couple of the more complex, fully hand painted, 4-point stars, because they're a pain in the ass. And I do actually think it works best. Oh, I went and dinged this nail. Great. Good job. That's okay. We can just smush it back down. Nobody will know. We'll just smush it. With all the other mess happening on here, who's even going to notice it? Nobody. There we go. It's like it never happened. Okay, so I do like to have a couple of the sort of 4-point kind of X-shaped stars. And I don't find them easy to do. With a lot of practice, I've gotten not terrible at them. So, if you don't feel up to doing these for whatever reason, just skip them. You don't need them. I do like them in this style of Galaxy Manny, but I don't think that they're totally necessary. I think if you want to skip them and you don't have a stamping plate to do bigger stars, what I would probably do is just use a dotting tool to do a slightly larger dot where otherwise you might do that. And actually you can even do sort of a both at the same time kind of thing. Hang on. Let me show you. So one way to do this kind of star is to use a dotting tool to put a dot and then just like pull from the center out one and then the opposite direction. The glare here is really making it difficult for me to see what I'm doing. Pull that way. So this is a totally valid way to do this kind of star, and it tends to look pretty cute. So if you have little brushes and you want to try and do that with a dotting tool, you can do that. But also, like, you can just straight up use a dotting tool and just do, you know, some stars that are a little bigger and some stars that are a little smaller. So I would normally do just like a couple of bigger stars per nail and then focus mostly on doing some small ones with my tiniest dotting tool. So this is my itty bittiest one. It's so small, it's not even going to focus on it. Can you focus, please? Hello? Thank you. See how little it is? That's the Holo Taco. It's one of the double-ended Holo Taco tools. So I feel like a lot of people have it, but you can also use a toothpick or whatever. So I tend to do more small stars and fewer big stars. And just sort of scatter them around wherever you feel like. One thing that I see people do a lot that I think doesn't work as well is if you're trying too hard to spread them out too much, they can start to look like they're, excuse me, it's a freaking fruit fly, just like trying to eat my nails. What the hell, man? So rude. Yeah, if you like try and spread them out too much, sometimes you end up like having them spread too evenly and it looks weird. So I try to like, you know, have some that are like real close together and others that are sort of much further apart. So sometimes I'll like purposely do two like right next to each other. Now, obviously, with the pastel one, those little stars are not going to show up quite as well in the sort of more dense area in the center because everything is so pale already. So we are going to do probably just like one big star up here. And I kind of want to focus my star energy on the areas where there is less going on for the bigger stars, just because it's already so pale in here. When you've got more like color and a darker base, it's easier to concentrate effort sort of more in the middle. But yeah, in this case, I feel like it would be kind of wasted because it's already so pale in the center. There we go. So we got a couple little stars there. And as soon as you add the stars, see, it's like, oh, it's a galaxy. Okay, I get it now. It goes from being sort of a pastel mess to being a galaxy. You got nothing from Dimension Nail's closing sale because you were broke and nothing lasted? Yeah. Everything went so fast. That was wild how fast everything went. But like, you know, it was one of those, there were a bunch of things that were like, you know, staples for some people, right? Like the brushes and the those milk jellies. Like, I use those constantly. Actually, I've done Pastel Galaxy with lazy gradienting those milk jellies. Oh God, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. My white got too stringy. Okay, that's okay. We got it. We got it. We're good. Just gonna add a little thinner onto the thing here. You finished with your stamping, Sassy? Awesome. You always press too hard with your dotting tool. Yeah, that's a thing that took me a long time to stop doing. I still occasionally press too hard. It's less of like a every single time now. I've gotten better, and it truly is just like, welp, I guess I got to practice a lot. And so I practiced a lot, and I got a little better. And if I go too long between dotting tool uses, I seem to forget again how to use it, and then I have to practice a little bit more. So there's definitely sort of a correct amount of pressure that works real well. And any other amount is bad and terrible. All right. I'm trying to keep these stars like so that they're kind of not all the exact same size and shape. But sometimes, you know, when you like screw up a thing and then like you're like, oh shit, I made this one side too small. I gotta make the other side, or I gotta make it bigger on this side. And then, oh no, now I went too far. Now I gotta make the other side bigger. And oh no, I went too far. I gotta go back and make the other side bigger. I do that a lot with these stars. So that for me has been such a struggle. I do that with hand painted hearts as well, all the time. So what I try and do instead is with these, I use a little tiny cleanup brush and just kind of like push the pigment closer to the right shape so that I don't end up in an infinite loop of making that one side the right size again and again and again. Because otherwise, oh boy, it can really go on for ages. All right. Do another one over here. In general, I find I tend to get a nicer shape if I go from the inside out. I get sort of nicer tapered edges more of the time. Is absolutely not always the case. And like I said, if you have a stamping plate with stars and you like to do that, or if you have like star-shaped nail vinyls, that's another good way to do it. I highly encourage you to do that, or to just skip these fancy stars altogether and skip straight to just doing dotting tool stars. I pressed too hard on that one. Come on. Come on. Dotting tool stars are definitely easier. I suppose you could also do that like toothbrush thing. I have never successfully used that technique on anything ever. Because it's just, I always end up making like an enormous mess on the thing that I was trying to have something nice on. It's like just like a huge clusterfuck. And then the part where it looks nice is like somewhere off over here where I don't actually care what it looks like. It's just like part of the area that's going to get cleaned up. As long as your stars look like distance explosions, you're fine. Yeah, for sure. And you don't even have to like, have them be super perfect. Like I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist about them. But like they can just kind of be close enough and it will totally work. Like it really, it doesn't take much to kind of get the idea across, to be perfectly honest. Okay, let's get some stars in here. So this magenta one, I feel like I want to have a nice painted one, like kind of over here in this. Oh, are you? Yeah, you are. This one's got a bit of lint or something on it. I need some shit. That was my acetone bottle lid. Everyone please hold. Where'd you go? There you are. I found it. Crisis averted. Okay. Bum 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 bum. I want a little like here. I want a star right here. Are you too thick? Are you starting to dry too much? Are you gonna cooperate? I think we're just barely wet enough to cooperate. Just barely. Okay. I think we did it. Good enough. Oh. Now we need more thinner on there. Okay. Baby themed nails for the baby shower you're attending. Yes. You simply must. Anytime you are the nail friend and you are attending any kind of fancy function, you are actually obligated to have themed nails. It's simply the way it is. Even if you don't do nail art, like you at least have to have like some kind of color coordination thing going on. It is the law. It's the law of being the nail friend. So the local person that I get those macarons from, apparently she just noticed last month when I picked up the last batch of macarons that I had fancy nails, and I guess I had like mentioned I don't know how she found my Instagram, actually. I don't think that I told her about it, but she does have my name because I do, buy stuff from her. So I guess maybe she just has my name and looked me up. I don't know. Anyway, apparently she told her friend about me, and her friend started following me, and her friend does nail art stuff. So that's kind of cool. So there are other nail nerds near me. I just don't really know them yet. But, maybe this can be the start of something beautiful. Who knows? Sonyo, hello, welcome. We are being blessed with Jammy Dodgers tonight, yes. She is over there snoring, as only a Jammy Dodgers can. Okay. There we go. See, it was just like a weird blotchy magenta thing, and now we added stars, and boom, it's a magenta galaxy. It never fails. You add the stars, and suddenly it becomes like, oh, we're in outer space now. This is why I love doing space nails, because you can do almost anything. And remember, that was kind of the goal of like the stream tonight, was truly there isn't like a secret. There isn't like magic way to do space nails. It's literally just like, put a bunch of shit together, try and make it, sparkly, and I think like having the base of the white cloudy area makes a big difference. But other than that, layering on just like some random flakies and magnetics and dry brushing some stuff on there and adding some shimmers, and then bam, get a couple of stars on there, and that's it. That's all you need for it to be a space mani. And it's so much easier than people expect it to be. And I bet that if you've never done a space mani and you just do this, you're going to end up with something that's like, oh shit, that's a space mani. And it'll be cool. And it'll look good. And you'll be happy. Yeah, it was very silly and cute. Jamie is so snoring right now. It's really very, very cute. Okay. So this is more the like traditional black background. So for that, I used a black hollow flake polish for the background. And that does do a lot of the work for you. Another way that I have done exactly this is just to start with a black creme and then use a hollow flake or scattered hollow or whatever topper, and then start layering on as we did with the white cloudy area with the Q-tip or sponge application, and then start adding on those shimmers and flakes and stuff until you just like how it looks, and then blob on your stars and call it a day. Pastel one, it was touch and go for a little while there, but I think we made it. I really like how that one came out, actually, that pastel one. It did look like jade for a little while, but I think having this like darker cloudy area in here where the magnetic is really kind of helped that one, gave it some definition and form. The blue magnetic is a classic way to start. I often start with a blue magnetic, and actually any kind of like dark blue or purple magnetic polish makes just an amazing base. I personally prefer not to do a cat eye for the base for a galaxy nail because I think it does too straight of a line. Using a ring magnet, or using, if you don't have a ring magnet, what we did for this one was the round magnet. Anything like that you can do, or, if all you have is a wand, you can just like, apply it sort of at a weird angle over here or like up here or whatever. Just have it so that you have some movement. You could even do it velvet. It would work just fine velvet. That one we just started with a magenta creme, so you can do it even with a creme. It takes a little more work, but you can still get there. And then this one was with a navy jelly base. So yeah, I mean, I feel like they all look like space nails, even though they are all completely different styles. They all give space vibes. So that's just basically how I do it. It's not about like having specific polishes. It's not about having, a specific technique. It's just like start with whatever base you feel like starting with, put on some cloudy white areas to sort of build the base and brightness of your nebula, and then just start layering on shimmers and flakes until it looks good to you. Top with your stars and you're done. The black is calling you, though? Yeah. I like all of them. I do agree, like, for me, when I think of space nails, this is sort of the classic that I'm thinking of, right? Like, that's really always going to be what I tend to be drawn toward. But I've done ones very similar to all of these except for the magenta. That's sort of the most unique for me compared with other stuff that I've done in the past. And of course, if you have like, if you have a stamping plate and you're doing a whole mani, you could have it so that a couple of nails have more of this kind of nebula, and then like have a couple of nails that are mostly just the background color and stars, and then like you could stamp on like a cute little rocket ship, or maybe some shooting stars or a planet or whatever you wanted to do that is kind of gonna again sell that space theme even a little bit more, because of course as soon as our brains see stars and planets and rocket ships and UFOs and whatever else, our brains will automatically recontextualize everything else that they see as part of that to, make it make sense. So you can kind of fool your brain into seeing space just by adding a rocket ship. Seriously. The middle is your fave, the blue magnetic base? Yeah. I really, really like the blue magnetic base ones as well. And I've also used Mooncat, actually Live Love. Mine was Live Love Polish Millennia. I've used that a lot for magnetic bases. Usually with that I would do like a navy or a black creme base, and then put one or two coats of the magnetic over top. I've also done I have a fancy gloss magnetic, like a blue magnetic topper that I've used a few times for space nails. Yeah, there's just, you can kind of do anything. Purples work really, really well. You put on HT's new Feeling Sparks and it's glorious, literally drowning in it right now. I want that one so bad. I need some Space Invaders. Yeah, I don't have any Space Invader plates. I would have to hand paint them. And I feel like if you're going to do Space Invaders, you kind of have to do like a really like pixelated sort of style. Otherwise it's just wrong, and I don't know. Let's get some Jammy Dodgers action. Y'all, it's only 9:30. How'd we do that? I don't understand. Yeah, both of the new Holotaco magnetics are like, oh, they're calling my name. I want them so bad, but I have so much polish here that I am not allowed to buy any more polish. I simply cannot until it's all at least swatched. And I'm going to have to de-stash some of this as well, for sure. Because I have way too much. I have way too much. 9:30 is your bedtime, but magnetics takes forever, so you're still up. You're like, you have to get up so freaking early, I guess, eh? Is school started for you again already? Sonia, kidding if anyone can do it, you can. Yeah, I can get through a lot of polish in a short period of time, but... All right. You know what would have also made a good base? I'm going to put this on my other hand. I haven't tried this yet. This is Patty Lopez Renaissance. It's a PPU Rewind polish. And I want to try it out. And yes, it's purple. Hang on. Where's my... I'm going to need some velvet. Oh my god. 2. 3. I have too much stuff up here. And my ring magnet. You started in July? What the hell, man? That's crazy. That is crazy. Oh, you meant I could draw the Space Invaders? Yeah, sure, I could draw the Space Invaders, but Do I want to, is the question. Jamie, what a good girl. She's such an old lady. Oh, oh, my baby. I love her so much. She is so good at the vet's office. Wait, is this one? This one's not a magnetic. Yes, it is. It is a magnetic. Why did I... Oh, yeah, okay. It says it on the top. That's why I was confused. Okay. Oh, you have a 3-week break in September, October? That's crazy. Hand-drawn Space Invaders. Not on my right hand. Hell no. I'm not painting Space Invaders on my right hand with my left hand. That's not going to happen tonight. I swear to God. We somehow managed to get a little bit of a fruit fly invasion sometime in the last couple of weeks. I think just our compost bin went just like an extra day too long or something before being put out in the garage, and oh boy, they sure are driving me crazy. I said A and it made me giggle. It made you giggle. Beachfront house for fall break. That sounds lovely. I don't know if it quite makes up for having to frickin' work basically year round, though. That's horrible. Oh my God. I need to get rid of this thing. Oh! Yeah, I hurt myself. I'm fine. I'm fine. I just scraped the back of my fingies. And somehow miraculously seemed to have not messed up my nails. I don't know. I think I just got the knuckles at the back. But it hurt. Listen, I am extremely Canadian, okay? I am Canadian. I'm gonna say Canadian things. That's just the way it is. I got maple syrup in my blood. I cannot help it. Y'all just gonna have to cope. I dated a guy from Texas for a while, which is where I picked up the y'all thing. And I about laughed my fool head off. One time he'd been up in Toronto for some time, but I don't know, a few weeks or something, hanging out with all the Canadian bike couriers, and he came out with a sentence that was, I believe it was, "All y'all's got some funny looking money up here, eh?" And it was funny enough that I still think about it on a pretty regular basis. I don't know how you start a sentence with "all y'all's" and end it with "a," but it's pretty good. How are my magnets not attracting each other? I arranged them so that they're actually repelled right now. So these two want to shoot each other apart. And then these ones as well, I arranged them the same. So as long as I keep them far enough apart from each other so that they don't fly out of control, they're not attracting each other. But if I had them arranged the other way, then it would be a huge problem. And I have done that before, and it is annoying. Oh, so it's the same number of school days, it's just arranged differently? Interesting. Yeah, I can see that being nice for off regular sort of peak times travel. Yeah, I'm so science. It's true, I'm so science. Yeah, I was not careful about arranging my magnets for the longest time, especially on streams when I was just like not really thinking about it. Because it's hard to brain on stream for reasons. But and I kept like clanking the damn things together and they'd go flying and it was ridiculous. But yeah. I don't know how I feel about this polish, I gotta tell you. So far, it's real sheer. Like, real sheer. The vibes are awfully purple. I don't know, we'll see how I feel about it after the third coat. But it's real sheer. Like, for me, I feel like I want a magnetic to be at least mostly opaque by the time I've got the third coat on. Like, I don't really want to be relying on the shimmer to be the only thing that's covering my nail line if I've got 3 coats on. I'm willing to forgive it if it's gorgeous enough. But in general, I feel like I'm not going to do 4 coats for a magnetic. You know what I mean? It's too much. 3 is fine. I'm okay with 3. We'll do 3 coats. 3 is kind of like my default for most manis that I do anyway. But yeah. I do think... Oh, I bet this over like... I wonder what it would look like over black. If the pink shimmer would just completely take over. Because it's like... It's got a strong purple shimmer in the... Or like blue or something in the non-magnetized base. I need to try this over black and see what it looks like. I'm wondering if it would actually be a good space one over black or something. Is the pattern ring velvet, ring velvet? Yeah. I don't know why. It's just how I kind of automatically default to doing it. Although, now I am, when I'm swatching like for brands, I try to make sure that I have one of these 3 nails, like either my index, middle, or ring finger. I'm trying to remember to do one of those unmagnetized because I know that people like to see it unmagnetized. And for a long time, I was doing the pinky unmagnetized, but I feel like it's harder to tell with the pinky. So I recently switched so that hopefully people will be able to tell more easily what a polish looks like unmagnetized. I don't get it. I don't understand the point of buying a magnetic and not magnetizing it. But I don't need to get it to acknowledge that people do that and care about seeing it that way. So my understanding is not required. But since it's important to people, I will try and show it to them when I'm swatching. But I don't think I'm ever going to understand. I don't get it. I got the magnetic because I wanted to see it the way it's magnetized. I want it on my nails the way it's magnetized. It's pretty. That's the whole point for me. I don't get you people with your unmagnetized magnetics. It's weird. Y'all weird. It's like putting matte over hollow. What are you doing? Stop it. Don't do that. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. One more coat. We'll see what happens, but I am dubious at the moment. I'm even going to give it a slightly more generous coat than usual to try and help it as much as I can. I hope Jammy Dodgers is amusing y'all with her sleep. I need to, like, get a microphone over there so you can listen to her little tiny snores and snuffles. She's so good at breathing. It's just like a constant, like, little wheezy sound. And I've spoken to vets about it before. There is nothing wrong with her. She can breathe just fine. She just gets lazy and likes to snore. I don't know. Sometimes she'll be wide awake and just like, and it's not purring. It's like something else. Yeah, it's a little too, it's not opaque enough, I think. I feel like it's not opaque enough for me. I'll show y'all once I've finished magnetizing it and everything. I'll bring up the nails up camera. But I don't know about this one. I feel like this is just not doing it for me. This might end up being a D-stash. And I got it from somebody else's D-stash. Who gave this to me? Was it Ray? I think it might have been Ray. One of the stray cats came inside and you fed her treats and put flea tick stuff on her neck and she's been offended ever since. Yeah. Cinna was so fucking mad at me when I put that stuff on her. She, like, would not let me come near her for the longest time. It was maybe the worst thing anybody has ever done to her, apparently. She was so betrayed. She was so betrayed. She actually tried to hit me several times after that. It was extremely funny. Put this magnetic in the sassy pile. Izio Nails, aka Anna. I did not know that your real name was Anna. I've just been calling you Izio. And welcome. I'm throwing on just an untried magnetic on my other hand because I finished my space nails a little early, but I will show you my fun space nails that I did. But if you want to see how I did them, you're gonna have to watch back on the VOD because it was a whole process. We did get it done pretty quickly though, I have to say. An hour and a half for a whole hand of space nails is pretty darn good. All right, well, I'm gonna go a little thick again to try and give this fucking polish every chance to do something. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's very responsive. It's a very responsive magnetic. It's an excellent magnetic in that regard. It has a clean pull. It's got an intense shimmer. It's very pretty. It's not opaque enough for me. I just want more opacity out of it. That's all. You came for space nails, but you'll stay for mags? I will show the space nails again. I still have to top coat the space nails. So I did do a smudge free top coat, but I haven't done a proper top coat yet. All right. Here, let me do the nails up display. Sorry, Jammy Dodgers. So, okay. I will say the color is great. The responsiveness, like I said, fantastic. Getting a nice clean pull out of it. So in terms of like performance of the magnetic, I really like it. It's great. You can't really tell from the top down cam because the shimmer is strong, but the shimmer is the only reason that you can't see my visible nail line. Like, it's real translucent. I don't have a good way to show you that, but it's like, it's definitely not opaque. And I don't always completely hate that, but it's not opaque enough for me, for my personal taste. Yeah. I'll put up with it for some magnetics. But I have a couple that are similar enough to this that I don't need to put up with it for this. I wonder if would it help if I had this one on? No, it does not at all. Yeah, just the shimmer's kind of overtaking things so that you can't tell how translucent it is, but it's just not opaque enough for my taste. Oh well. Yeah, it looks really opaque on camera, I agree with you, but it's like... And the velvet looks fine. It's just the cat eye is like really... It's just not opaque enough for me. It's disappointing. I'll have to take a photo and post it so that people can kind of see what I'm talking about, because they really can't see it at all on camera. That's so funny. Like, it totally looks opaque on camera. If it looked in real life like it looks on camera, I would not destash it. I would be perfectly happy with it. But it doesn't. You can see a little bit of VNL. Yeah. What polishes it? It is, I just fucking dinged it. Look at that. Come on, focus up. There we go. See that? Nice little ding on the index. Very good, very good. It is Patty Lopez Renaissance. It was a PPU rewind. You know what? I don't even know if I care enough to... Because I think this is going to get destashed. Okay. Let me show you... Hang on. Let me just put these guys away. There we go. You guys go there. Let me show you my space nails. A healthy chonky ding, yeah. It's fine. I didn't like it that much, Bunkhead. I'm mad at the polish. So, you know what? I'm gonna do some top coat while I'm talking about what I did. So basically what I did here for latecomers, in an effort to prove that there's no real trick to space nails, and it's just a matter of like layering on enough shit and then blobbing some stars on. I let people choose some wildly different bases, some of which are not typically the sort of thing you would expect for space nails. So we have, on my thumb, more of a traditional space nails base. It's a black hollow flake. So, you know, your sort of typical base that you might use for a galaxy nail or space nail thing. But then basically what I did, well, no, I'll just tell you what the bases are for all of them first, and then we'll go into it. But yeah, so a hollow flake black, and then this one is a shimmer Crelly, this pastel shimmer Crelly. And then this one is a magnetic with some hollow in it. And then this is just a magenta creme for the base. And then here we have a navy jelly for the base. So for all of these, I got my base down, and then I just used a Q-tip for the sake of showing people that it can be done without special equipment, but also a little piece of sponge that you can tear off to apply just a thin sort of cloudy area of white creme on each nail to sort of give the base for a nebula sort of area. And then basically all I did was just dab and dry brush on a variety of flakes and shimmers, some more flake, and like this one's like a reflective with shimmer and a shimmer with hollow. I basically just like kind of dabbed and dry brushed somewhat randomly around and on the white cloudy parts. I even added a little bit of magnetic in a few spots on some of these, and just sort of kind of dab a little bit, not too thick, and then magnetize, and then ended up kind of going back and dabbing a little bit more other stuff over top of it to soften those edges. And then, yeah, basically once I kind of had enough sort of different colors of shimmers and flakes built up all over the place, I added a coat of just a reflective topper with a sheer base, so or with a clear base, and then painted on some stars, and that's it. That's all it is. So it doesn't really matter sort of what base you use for it. There's no like, it's just blob on enough shit and eventually you'll get there, and then you throw some stars on it and it's done. And it's magically space. Yeah, the thumb with the hollow is definitely like, that's, sort of the classic, and also the blue magnetic is sort of more of a classic. But I feel like it works really well even for the other ones and still very much gives space vibes, even though they are extremely not the kinds of colors you would associate with that at all. So yeah, I think there's no real excuse for not trying it immediately. So I'm gonna need to see space nails from everybody in attendance immediately. Have them on my desk by Monday. Okay, maybe not that, but I would like to see y'all do some. And like I said, if you have stamping plates that have like stars or rocket ships or whatever, by all means do that, because it's a lot easier than trying to hand paint them on, for sure. Although I have hand painted rocket ships and meteors, and of course I hand painted these stupid stars. Space Nails homework. It's very important. Yeah, I'm annoyed, mildly annoyed with this polish, and I'm gonna take it off, like, pretty much immediately, but probably not immediately because I don't feel like doing them again, and I don't want to ruin my other hand before I get photos. So maybe I'll just top coat this and call it a night, and then I will deal with it in the morning. Do new nails tomorrow. I just feel like I don't really want to deal with it right now. I'm a little disappointed. I had high hopes for it because it is super pretty color combo. I really like that it's like this intense blue. I'm just disappointed about the opacity. And maybe I just need to put it over a creme or something, but I know myself, I don't tend to use magnetics that way. I get annoyed with them if I have to. I will sometimes, like for space nails, I will totally do that. If I want to use like a shearer magnetic over a creme as part of my base, I'm totally happy to do that. But yeah, I feel like for a regular magnetic mani. I just want it to do the thing. Oh yeah, double dinged because I stopped giving a shit about this hand. You can't handle the pressure. I mean, you can add Space Invaders to your nails, Sylvia. I think that would be great if you added some Space Invaders to your nails. But I'm not doing that to my nails. Not tonight. I like how they came out, though. They're cute. I would not have thought to do the magenta as a base, and I do really like it. I should show you. Actually, are you going to let me... I don't know if my camera will let me do the thing, but if I... Or if not my camera, my OBS... Don't know if my OBS is going to cooperate with me. But if I can find... I have a cute pastel space thing that I did. Hang on. Nail art. Is that Little Martian? Is that okay? I do have, so if this will allow me to, we're gonna try something. OBS has not been very friendly of late, but create new. Are you gonna, no, that's not how we're gonna do that. Okay. Can I do that and then drag that in? Does that, oh, is that, I think it's working. Okay. Here we go. So this is a mani that I did with this stamping plate from a brand that went into retirement very, very quickly after starting, called Little Martian. But yeah, I really liked this mani, and this is just, the base for it is just a lazy gradient of pastel colored jellies. They're the milk jellies from Dimension Nails, actually. And then the planets are all stamped, and then I hand painted the rocket ships and the stars. But yeah, so to show you that, like, once you add, as I was saying earlier, once you add some like things that your brain expects to see in space, all of a sudden your brain is like, oh, we're in space now. We must be in space because there's stuff that belongs in space. So obviously we're in space, right? That's how that works. But yeah, so if you just add the trappings of space to something that, you know, has some variation and whatnot to it, you can really quite quickly come to something that that looks very spacey. You might do your space nails homework over the magnetic on your right hand that also kind of flopped for you. So there you go. Just do it on something that you already have on there and you don't love. You do need a space stamping plate, Sassy. I think you would get a lot of use out of one. Manuscript has a couple of cute ones. I also, for like bang for buck, I like CADs. They do a lot of small stamping plates that are just like, you know, like they're like this big. And, you know, they'll have like 9 or 12 or whatever designs on them. But they're dirt cheap. So you can just get like a bunch of them and, you know, they're good. They work well. So I think bang for buck, they're a pretty good investment. And then, of course, Lantern and Wren has a few nice ones. What's Up Nails has a few nice ones. Couch Potato, hello. Yeah, Cads has a lot of weird mixes. They do have some strange stuff. I don't always understand what they're doing, but I've never been mad at one of their plates. So that's worth a lot for me. Like, to not be struggling, I've never had trouble picking up anything on any of their plates so far. Sometimes I question their choices as far as what they're combining on some of their plates, but yeah, Couch Potato, you came like right at the end. I'm done. We've done all these space nails, and now you'll never know the secret to space nails. It's too late. You'll never know the secrets. Halloween and spring. Easter and Chinese New Year. Yeah. Yeah, they just combine stuff sort of randomly. I don't understand it. And sometimes it's like, they'll call something part of their nature series or whatever, and it's like nothing on the plate has anything to do with nature. I don't understand why you're doing this. And the kids' plates are sometimes like full of nature stuff, and you're like, why is that one under kids and not under nature? I don't know. Oh no. You told Couch Potato to sleep before stream so that they wouldn't fall asleep during stream, and then they missed the whole stream. Oh, we gotta switch over to Jammy Dodgers. Hang on. You can see part of her little bald tummy. She overgrooms her tummy, unfortunately. She doesn't ever cause herself any damage. She just makes herself bald. So she used to do it a lot worse, and then we got her on a medication that seemed to help with her pain. She has hip issues, joint issues, and so when that was, sort of when she was newly on that, she basically stopped overgrooming completely. And now she's been on it for like a year, and I think it's maybe not working quite as well as it was. I don't know. She's started overgrooming again. So you're gonna watch the VOD to know all my secrets. Well, I guess you can do that. One of your cats does that on top of her heels. Aw. Yeah, it's not always a pain indicator, but it seems to be one for Jammy Dodgers. It seems to correlate. Multiple times in her life, we've had her for various reasons on one kind of pain relieving medication or another, and she's always, every time she's on something that's supposed to help with pain, she consistently grooms way less. And yeah, when she got on this arthritis medication, it she literally had a full belly of fur for a good long time, and it started up again recently. So I mean, I think she's turning 15 this October. So they're old ladies, she and her sister. It's not entirely surprising she has some pain. Yeah, it's definitely sometimes stress for some of them, for sure. It doesn't seem to correlate with stress. It does seem to correlate with pain. But yeah, it can be stress, it can be allergies, it can be, various different skin conditions. There's so many different reasons why a cat might do that. And we basically, worked with several different vets over her life to, and they've all kind of tested for all the various different things and tried out stuff. And the only thing that has ever seemed to make a difference is pain relief medications. But of course, when they're fairly young, you don't want to put them on anything heavy duty that's going to damage their kidneys. She's sort of starting to get to the age now where I might consider something like that, except now she's on a kidney diet because she started having some elevated kidney numbers in her blood work. So yeah, she doesn't look too stressed. I agree with you. She's a pretty relaxed kitty. She always has been. Her sister is a very anxious cat, and yet has never done any of the excessive grooming or anything. Her sister is also here, actually. Budgie is right here. We have a Budgie, but Budgie doesn't like to face the camera. But she is a good girl. There we go. It's a 2-cat stream, but Budgie has been facing away from the camera the entire time. Yeah, she's completely fine with the kidney food. Both Jammy and Budgie, they're the same age, and they both started having their kidney levels start to elevate a little bit, and so they both went on the early care kidney prescription stuff. And they don't give a shit. They're completely fine with it. They're like, kibble, we don't care. As long as it's kibble, it's great. Yeah, the discount cat has never had a medical problem in her life. She's never had any kind of an issue. She's never needed anything other than routine vaccinations, and like, she did have a couple of teeth pulled at one point a couple of years ago. But yeah, like, really no unusual issues at all. Such a good girl. All right, y'all. We're after 10 o'clock. We finished our space nails. We've gazed upon the beauty that is kitties, and Sassy is in the top 3. So, we've accomplished all of our goals for the night. Oh yeah, Najwa, they're very picky about wet food, but they are not at all picky about dry food. They will eat literally any dry food I put in front of them. Wet food, they're the pickiest bitches, but Jammy Dodgers historically has never been into drinking water, and so all their lives they've gotten wet food just so that Jammy would get enough water in her diet. So yeah, the early care from Royal Canin is what they're on right now. They seem happy with it. So, all right, yeah. So if you try out some space nails using the tips and tricks and tutorial, let me know. Let me see them. I want to see them. Even if you don't feel like posting them on Instagram or whatever, just DM them to me, send them on Discord or whatever. Show me your space nails. And if you find a good stamping plate that has Space Invaders on it, let me know, so that I can make all your Space Invader dreams come true. I don't really want to have to hand paint any Space Invaders. Just saying. All right. Thanks